Welcome everyone. I hope this comes out well. And if it doesn't, I already made one, that's good. So you'll see pasta one way or another, okay? So this is a recipe that I got from Florence. Michael, I see you peeking in. This is a recipe I got from Florence a couple of years ago when we took a trip to Italy, when we could still take trips to Italy. And it's a very easy pasta recipe. So if you do not have the ingredients yet, all you need is 1 cup of semolina flour, 1.5 teaspoons of olive oil, and I just poured mine in a small dish so I didn't have to get my gallon jug out. You need a generous pinch of salt, and you'll see how much I put in there. And then you need warm water, which I just have another Pyrex here. I'm going to go to the tap later and get some hot water, and it will be warm enough, okay? So, first thing, take your flour, pour it into a bowl. All right, I'm going to tilt this screen so you don't see me and you see my bowl. I don't know if you...
We can see it. Debbie, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is it possible to use regular flour instead of semolina flour?
You know what? It is. We used regular flour for years before we used semolina flour. So yes, you can. Okay. So can you see into my bowl, or does it need to be a little closer?
We see it.
Okay. You
We're
see
good.
it? Okay.
That's good. Yeah.
In this bowl, I'm going to make a little well. Kind of like if you had mashed potatoes and you were going to put gravy in the middle. Okay, I'm going to get my tablespoon. You need a tablespoon. A tablespoon. And okay, so I have a cup of semolina flour in here. I need 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil. So I'm going to do 1, and I'm just going to drizzle it around. There's 1, and then just a half of that. Okay. Then a generous pinch of salt. Don't be stingy on the salt. The blood pressure isn't going anywhere over this. Just be generous, okay? So a nice Italian pinch of salt. I'm going to go and get some hot water. Okay, now you want to start with 4 tablespoons of hot water, okay? So I'm going to drizzle in 1, 2, 3, 4. And yes, I did use the same tablespoon I used for the oil, since you can see the little oil drops in there. Take your fork and just start mixing. You can start with a fork, which is what I always do. Mix it up the best you can to start. Here's the deal. You can always add water, but you can't take it away. So you don't want to go overboard. You want to add water slowly. So you can tell that this is pretty dry. So that was 4 tablespoons that I started with. So I'm going to add 2 more. 1, 2. So silent. I'm the only one I hear.
Debbie?
Yes?
When you pour the water in, does it have to go in the well in the middle like the oil, or does it matter?
It probably doesn't matter because I don't think I put mine in there, but maybe it should, which is why you make a well. Great. So now I switch to my hands, and you can see that it's still pretty dry, okay? So I'm going to add another tablespoon, and this I'm going to put around the sides. I'm actually going to add 2 more because I can tell it's dry. And then I'm going to mix it with my hands so that you want it to be like Play-Doh, I guess. You can tell you don't want any dry pieces on the side, and that when I take my dough and I touch the side, it picks up the dry pieces, and that's what you're looking for. When you get to that point where the bowl is pretty clean, you can take it out and then knead it on your tabletop. It should be easy to knead. It's not, you know, you're not pushing. It's not a strenuous push. You're just trying to mix all of the ingredients. And a trick I discovered, if you think your dough is still too dry at this point, dip your fingers in the water and then use that, your fingertips, to knead it in, because otherwise you might get too much water, and then, like we said, you're going to be stuck. You have to toss it out because there's no going back. We've tried to add flour to it and it just doesn't seem to work. So it's a cup of flour, throw it away. The semolina flour that I have, you can buy that Red Mill. Is it Red Mill? Someone shake their head. Sandy, yeah, thank you. It's Red Mill flour. Or if you go to like Winco, or what's that other place? Fraser Farm. They have it in the big bins, and you can just scoop and buy it by the pound as much as you want. So you're going to knead this until it gets to the consistency of, I wish you were here to feel it. Let's see.
Show it to us. Hold it up.
It's when you squeeze it, you don't have any dry pieces sticking out. I can mold it. If I wanted to make a little man out of this right now, I could. If I wanted to make a little snowman out of it, I could. When I squeeze my fingers into it, can you see the dimples that I make? I can turn it over and do it on this side, and you see that it stays. So it's kind of elasticity. Is that a word?
I have a question and I can't type it because my hands are all filled. Does it make a difference if you need it?
That's Susan.
I don't care. Does it ruin it if you need it too long? I mean.
No, but
No.
why need it too long? Because then you're just there long. You can't, I don't think you can.
If you do too much, it makes it tough. I mean, it's okay. Okay.
I don't know, but I'm done. Like, I wouldn't need this any longer. Okay? So then I would put it back in my bowl, and I would just cover it with saran wrap or paper towel, or put another bowl on top, and it needs to sit for 20 minutes. All right, everyone good so far? Should I continue? Okay, so that's going to sit, and for the sake of time, I already made one, just like Giada always does. And this one is totally ready for me to use my pasta machine. Anthony, will you come help me for a minute, please? I don't want to. My computer, ladies, is on my ironing board on my island. So I want to get you a little closer. Will you help me move this closer? But see that? I don't want this part to fall off. Yeah. How's that?
Go into that box.
Looks good.
Looks good.
Is that close enough? Let me see.
Yeah. Looks perfect. You might move that can that's right in front of there. There you go.
How's that?
Great.
Okay, so thank you, honey. Bye. All right, pasta machine. Turner. Now, this has 7 different levels. Everyone's pasta machine, let's push this up, we discovered from our last class is a little different. My widest setting is a 1, and the higher the numbers, the thinner it goes. But other people's pasta machines it's opposite. 7 is the thickest and it goes down. So, you know, whatever you have, take a look at it before you set it. Mine is on 1 right now. I'm going to use settings 1, 3, and 5. Once you do this, the best thing to do is just experiment with what you want. Thicker, thinner, just play around with it, okay? So I'm going to take my dough that I already made, and I'm going to cut a piece. I forgot a knife. I'm going to cut a piece and keep my fingers crossed that it works. So here's my piece. Okay. I'll put you on the machine. And I'm going to feed this in and roll. Tell me if I need to move that. To get my first, what should I call it? A slab? That's not the right word. And roll all of your dough on the same setting before you switch it. Otherwise, you're doing a lot of back and forth, and oh, it's tedious and you'll quit. So I'm going to roll my next one, and I'm going to put it down, and I'm going to cut this guy in half. And I'm going to roll my next one. And here it is. I'm going to put it down, and my last one. So I failed to mention that this is rolling without the attachment. Here's the attachment on the top. So I just rolled 4 pieces of dough. I'm going to now change my setting to 3. 3. And I'm going to go and put them through again. And each time I put them through, they're going to get thinner. There's 1. 2. I'm either doing a great job that there's no questions or no one's really listening. 3. And 4. This is a great activity to do with a friend. It's a great activity to do with grandkids. They love turning, they love catching. Okay, so that was on the 3rd setting. Now I'm going to go to 5. Whoops. Come on, honey. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put them through again. And as you can tell, the thinner they are, oh shoot, I went to 6. Time. My hands are slippery. Okay.
Debbie,
What?
Susan is asking what settings you're using, what machine setting you're on.
Sue, I started with 1, then I went to 3, and now I'm on 5. Now I'm on 5.
Okay, I had to go down the stairs. That's why I missed it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so now I'm putting it through on 5. And like I said, the thinner the setting, the longer the piece gets and the thinner it gets. Now, a couple of months ago, at the beginning of COVID, so you can see how long my piece is now, okay? Rob and I stopped at 5 and made long pieces like this, and then we made ravioli out of them, which was so yummy. Oh my goodness, they were so good. Now, this next piece, I don't know if you saw, but I folded it in half. And then I'm going to feed it in because it was so long. Then I didn't want it, I wouldn't be able to hold the whole thing because there's only one of me. So here's my second piece. Okay, here's my next one. Longer and thinner. Whoops. And then the last one. It's very workable. You can see that it isn't sticky at all. Another thing I should mention, never put water or anything in your machine. If you think it's a little sticky, take some flour. Take some flour and dust your machine with the flour, and or you can also dust your pieces of pasta. Okay, questions?
Debbie, I was just going to tell you that Sally is working right along with you, doing half buckwheat today, and it's resting. So
Okay, that sounds good.
there was
All
another
right.
question from Charlotte asked, do you ever oil or do anything to your machine before use?
No, I never do. I've never even washed the machine. I've dusted it off, you know, because it's gotten flour on it, but no, it seems to, it's unnecessary and I don't want to screw it up. So I've never done that. Okay, now I'm going to add my cutter. My cutter only has angel hair and a little thicker, maybe like a fettuccine width. So I'm going to add this on, if I remember how, this way. And you were my helper. And now I'm going to take one of my pieces and I'm going to feed it in my fettuccine. So I had to move my handle. I'm going to point you back down to the machine and you will see, come on baby. I'm going to feed it on that side. Uh-oh. Oh, Rob, just in time. You have to, I just got a helper. Hang on. Honey, will you hold this up or catch?
Yeah, let me just wash my hands.
No, we're live.
I wash my hands.
Ugh. He has to wash his hands. All right, I think I got it. Here's the first bunch. Right there. So then what I do, I'm in tight quarters here. I take a little flour and I put it on a cookie sheet. You can't see that, can you?
Want me to hold it up?
Yeah, little flour, like down, yeah, like that. And then I'm just going to twirl it around, make a little mound, and just let it rest. Okay? All right, honey, here.
What do you want?
You need to feed
Feed what?
the pasta.
Oh.
Can you see? Yep. No, this one.
This one? Right
Yep,
here?
that
Okay,
one.
Yep.
Okay, there's another one. In the pasta, in the flour. Okay, next. I don't think I'm getting all of it. Yep, I got it.
Debbie,
Yes.
is it possible to actually crank too fast or too slow during the process?
It is not. But
Okay.
you can crank the wrong way. Don't go backwards or you'll be pulling it out instead of pushing it through.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's our last one. And again, it's an easy crank. It just flows. I mean, it's effortless. That's it. Thank you, honey. You came home just in time.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so let me show you these little nuggets of goodness. Let's see. How's that? Can you see those? So you let them,
Yum.
I would let them sit. You can dry these out and they'll stay in an airtight Tupperware container, probably for a good 2 weeks. I mean, there's nothing in them that's going to spoil. You want it to be, I would let it air dry for at least an hour before you cook. And one thing about fresh pasta, it cooks rapidly. As soon as that water boils, add your salt, put the pasta in, go and get your colander, come back and taste that pasta because it's probably done. That's how fast it cooks.
Cool. Debbie, can you possibly talk about how we might do it if we don't have a pasta machine with a rolling pin or?
Yes, well, that question was asked earlier and my response, I mean, they didn't have pasta machines years ago, so they had to use a rolling pin. I'm not very handy with a rolling pin, but if you get it at the right consistency, and I think that might be a good gauge. Here's the one that we made earlier. And again, you can tell, I can put my hands over it and look at, my hand comes out perfectly clean. So nothing is sticking. So that might be a good tester,
Yeah.
you know, to see, is this too wet? Is it too dry? Things like that. Nothing is crumbling, nothing is sticking on my hand, nothing is falling off. I believe, I don't know, do you want me to get a rolling pin, see if I can roll this? I bet I could.
If you would like to. Also, Debbie, Susan wants to know, so you don't have to separate the pasta on the rack like you did before.
Like we used to, no. We used to hang each one of these individual strands on a, you know, the old clothes drying racks. Talk
You
about
don't have to do that anymore.
You don't have to do it anymore. Just every time you walk by your pan, just give it a toss. You know?
We're not doing that. We used to hang it.
Yeah, we hung it on chairs. We hung it on the clothes rack. Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to do it. Let's just say, no, we did, but Nikolai in Florence did not do that. So we
Okay.
don't do it anymore. What, Sue, what?
How long does it sit in the pan, in that cookie? I missed it.
Before you cook it, I would let it sit for at least an hour.
I'm not gonna cook it tonight. Dinner's over.
Oh, well then put it in a Tupperware. I mean, let it sit out until you go to bed so it dries. And then put it in a Tupperware. Yeah.
And then Debbie, how long would you say it takes to cook?
Oh, my God. Geez. Once the water's boiling, 3 minutes tops. I mean, that's truly a guess, but it's fast. So check it. 5 minutes is way too long. It'll be horrible. Better to check and, you know, have to let it cook a little bit more, but it really cooks fast. It's not like, you know, the stuff that you get in the store. Okay. you'll find little pieces left on your machine. Be sure to add those. Let me grab a rolling pin, see if this rolls. I have no idea. Okay, I'm gonna put a little, let's do this. I'm gonna put a little flour on my counter just in case it works. And boy, I don't have a lot of room here.
Debbie, quick question. How
Yep.
long would you say that the uncooked pasta could be kept in a container before you use it?
I would bet, well, I used to make it and give it away as Christmas presents, so I would say at least a month.
I never
In-
got any.
I'll give you some this year.
In the fridge, though, in the fridge, not out.
Well, I wouldn't keep it in the fridge. You don't have to keep it in the fridge, no. And you know what? That used to even be egg pasta, and it was fine. This doesn't even have any eggs in it. So, and look, this is rolling. Look,
Yeah.
so it did get bigger. Yeah. Can you see it?
Yep.
Yeah, I would say you'd be fine. It might take a little longer to roll, but it actually rolls fine. So you could do it. You could really do it the old way. Get that rolling pin out. Get your muscles into it. Okay?
And then would you cut it with a knife?
I would cut it with a knife, or actually what I saw them do on a cooking show, because I love that big pappardelle, those big, oh, and those are with eggs. But what they did was they rolled it out, and then they folded it over loosely. So you had, you know, like a little oblong, and that way when you cut it, you would have a whole strand that, you know, that would unwind. You don't want to cut it out you don't want to roll it into the length that you want your noodles, because then you'll need a long table, and my hand's not that steady, so your noodles will be horrible. You think of kind of like a jelly roll, that you're going to roll it like that, and then cut it. And then your pieces will be all the same size. Yeah, that would work perfectly. What else?
Does anybody else have questions?
I have a statement. You did all this in 24 minutes, Debbie.
Woohoo! Oh wait, I'm 4 over. I thought I could do it in 20. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know if maybe it is just 20. That's amazing.
It doesn't take long.
Yeah.
It really doesn't take long. And if you want to do egg pasta, the recipe that we used, it was equal eggs to equal flour.
Huh.
You know, 3 eggs to 3 cups of flour.
Then you gotta
And-
use your Cuisinart.
Yes, and you have to use your Cuisinart, and you have to shake it so
Oh,
that it
mm.
needs, and I mean, I did take, yeah, it's 3 eggs to 3 cups flour, 2 tablespoons of oil, and 2 teaspoons of salt. But again, that's generous salt. If it's too dry, I may have already said this, never add oil. Always add water. Okay? If you add more oil, you'll have to throw it away. What else?
Thank you.
Thank you
Susan,
for
did have
coming, Sandy.
I have a question.
question?
I'm gonna have to
What's
call
that?
Bob.
I have a question.
This was taped. Oh, what, Sue?
Okay, so do you see my machine here?
Yeah.
This is the thing that, Sandy, that we turn to get the numbers.
Yeah.
But my numbers go from,
Where were you? saying all this. You're not listening. She says sometimes they go from high to low and sometimes low to high.
I know, but I can't get it on one.
Then start on 2.
Oh, okay. That's what I wanted to know.
Why can't you get it on one?
Because there's only 3 places in the back to turn it, and there's not one next to one.
So maybe you don't have a 1. Maybe you just have a start.
No, there's numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah, well, just start on the lowest that you can. Right?
Okay, I'll try.
The fattest width.
The fattest.
Yeah, just start on the widest one.
Okay.
Okay. What else?
Hi.
We good? Oh, there.
Okay.
Barbara McDonald just came in.
No, I've been watching the whole thing. My thing doesn't have a camera, I don't think.
Oh.
Don't you love how Sandy bosses everybody around?
I'm not bossing. I'll
You
call
were
you.
bossing Susan. I heard it.
She keeps reading.
So wait, I have a question.
What?
I have a question. So if this is taped, then where do you find it?
YouTube.
About 5 minutes after this, it'll be available to the host, and then she can forward out the link to everyone.
Well, Deb will see you on YouTube.
What I'll do is we have a YouTube channel. So
Okay.
our link is actually on our website. So, it'll probably take more than 5 minutes for me to do it, but
That's okay.
by tomorrow.
No rush. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all right for anyone, but that's good to know. For people that missed it, I can just send them.
Yeah, so have them go to YouTube and look for To Do a Mending Project. And then our channel comes up and all of the videos are on there that we've been doing in this time.
Oh, I think I saw another question. Is there another question?
Do.
No?
Sally, are you there? Are you going to show us your pasta? Did we
The
lose
other
Sally?
question was, what was different with the egg pasta about the Cuisinart? So why do you have to use a Cuisinart with egg?
The reason is I've always used 3 cups of flour and I can't seem to knead it by hand. There's too much flour. So that's why we use the Cuisinart. And so actually in this recipe, you can easily do it starting with 2 cups of flour, like double everything in one recipe, but don't do 3 because it just seems to be too much. It's too much for me. Maybe you guys can do it. But with the eggs, I always did 3 cups flour, 3 cups eggs, and then the Cuisinart just goes and does it.
There's Sally. Let's see. I see you, Sally. Go ahead.
I want to see.
Look,
Oh, so
Oh,
perfect.
I'm doing it. Sandy,
Uh-oh.
this is better than when we did it.
Oh, that's the buckwheat. Can you guys see it? You have to put it
No,
on
I don't
gallery.
see it.
I don't see it.
If you're on gallery view, you have to switch it so you can see Sally.
For a second.
Where-
No?
I don't see Sally.
Oh, I see Sally. Let me
I
see.
know.
Yes.
Okay, can you,
Yes.
so I've got half buckwheat and half wheat, just the dough resting, ready to go through my pasta machine.
There you
Alright.
go.
And since I took your class, Debbie, down at the museum, I haven't actually set up my pasta machine at home until today. I've got
Oh,
it stamped on over there, ready to go. So I'll have buckwheat noodles tonight.
You will. Good for you. And now you'll do it all the time. Good for you. That's great. That is great. I love it. Okay. Anything else? Oopsie. Sorry.
Deb, you are a good teacher.
You're muted,
Okay,
Michelle.
So,
This is my 3rd time, Debbie, and I love it every single time. I love it. The most fun.
Debbie, at Christmas time, and Meg will chime in, I don't know if she's here, but I don't know if she can talk, but we made it for 1 million people and it almost killed us. there all day long. Christmas Day, we were making pasta.
Yeah. Well, 1 cup doesn't make very much. I
No.
mean,
Yeah.
2 cups will feed maybe 4 people, unless you have like something
Maybe.
hard to put on top. But yeah, it's fun. It's a family activity, I guess.
Yeah, I recommend small family get-togethers.
That was Meg. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so ciao,
Bye.
bon appetit, and enjoy.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Deb.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deb.
Thank you. Bye-bye.